Farm Zero C, based at Shannock Dairy Farm, is participating in Science Foundation Ireland's Zero Emissions Challenge. I've come down to Cork to meet the team and learn more about the project. Hi Kevin, how's things?
Hi Trevor, great to see you.
You too.
Do you want to come this way?
Yeah,
show you
thanks
around?
very much. Can you tell me a little bit about Farm Zero C, Kevin?
Farm Zero C is a project about trying to achieve climate neutrality on farms. So we know the farms are incredibly important to the world, to Ireland. And we produce a lot of great produce. For example, here we're on a dairy farm, so we're producing milk. Milk can produce cheese. When you produce cheese, you get whey. That's whey protein. It's sold all over the world. So we're producing a lot of good things from the farm. But we also know that the farm is a source of greenhouse gas emissions. And we also know that the farm needs to contribute more to increasing biodiversity. Because of our agricultural practices, we're emitting gases and we're contributing to biodiversity loss. To us, this project that we're doing here on the farm is about reversing that. It's about saying that the farm is actually the centre of the solution.
Part of the project is looking at the positive impact farms can have on the environment.
We're looking at how much carbon is in the soil. So we're trying to monitor that over time. We're using satellite imagery to look at how much carbon is actually in the air. If you look at that grassland out there, the carbon from the air that grassland is sequestering, that is sucking down into the soil, that is actually not counted right now as carbon capture. Part of this project is actually looking at that and saying, we can use satellites, we can use ground sensors, and we can actually determine how much carbon is being sequestered into the soil, dragged out of the air and in, because there's too much carbon dioxide in the air. We want to suck it into the soil.
A word we use quite a bit in Carbery is future-proof. And for us, the Farm Zero C model is the future-proof model. It's future-proofing our sector. It's very holistic and it's looking at the biodiversity piece as well as that major focus on carbon. So this is critical to the future of dairying as we see it.
Improving the biodiversity, the natural habitat for wildlife, is an important aspect of the project.
So there's a climate crisis going on, but there's also a biodiversity crisis. And the main reason that we're losing biodiversity is because of habitat loss. And habitat loss is mostly driven by agriculture. So we convert native habitats or forests, wetlands, grasslands into fields, pastures or arable fields. So my role is to be an ecologist and come around and do surveys. So I did a plant survey, a pollinator survey and a bird survey. And that's just to see what species are here and what habitats they exist in. So I sampled all the habitats on the farm, I mapped them all out to see how much habitats are on the farm. Then I would make recommendations based off that on how we can conserve biodiversity first of all and then improve it. So the aim is to actually increase the percentage cover of habitat on the farm from where it is currently at 8% to 10%. And if we can show that we can reach 10% of the farm area as habitat cover, that just illustrates that you can have a profitable farm and also conserve biodiversity and also reduce emissions.
Trying to reduce the amount of methane produced by the herd is another research interest for Farm Zero C.
So each of these spikes here is the burp of a cow. So when they come in, each of these spikes is methane being emitted. For every kilo of methane that a cow produces, it actually equates to 25 kilograms of carbon dioxide. So it's a bit more potent than what the normal carbon dioxide gas would be. So that's an area that we really need to work on. So 95% of methane is burped out of the cow or eructated. So the most important area is methane produced from digestion. Improving the quality of the feed that they eat will help to reduce methane emissions.
Out in the fields, using different grass species or swards is good for the cows as well as the environment.
So Trevor, we're standing in a multi-species field here, and I would regard this as an eco-technology. What we're doing is using other species to make these pastures more sustainable. So we have a lot of clover in this field. Clover is a species that produces lots of organic nitrogen. It produces its own fertilizer. And then there's other species. We have river plantain, we have chicory, and those species do better in kind of more dry conditions. So the two benefits we get from this are that clover produces its own nitrogen. We don't have to put on as much nitrogen, so we save on carbon emissions there, and we also save on polluting the rivers. At the same time, we're also trying to make the yield more stable in dry conditions so that we don't have to import grass when we're in these kind of drought-like conditions.
With the mixed species, we've used very little nitrogen during the grazing season, and it grew a lot of grass, and the cows will eat it, so that is a good thing. We're not buying in artificial nitrogen, and we're also getting nitrogen out of the atmosphere. So with the clovers, the chicory, the plantain, and if cows will eat it, it doesn't affect our milk production, and we get the same solids or even better milk solids. That's a winner for us.
Locating the project at a demonstration farm means direct engagement with the end users.
I think farmers are quite scientific in their approach. So as a scientist, I see how they respond to the challenge. They're telling us the solutions. They understand, but they also understand they're running a business.
Number one, it has to be practical in a commercial dairy farm.
Yeah.
It cannot affect our bottom line, and if it can improve the environment, sure, it has to be good.
There's a firm focus on profitability and business case. So whatever we do here has got to stack up on the balance sheet, and it has to be, like I said, reproducible on farm. So I think farmers will have an assurance there. The dairy industry is such an important piece of rural Ireland. It's important that we show farmers, look, this has got a future. We believe this is a way of future-proofing dairying, not just for the next 20, but hopefully 50 years, and delivering ultimately climate neutrality.
The European Commission have clear targets, and this industry needs to be climate neutral by 2050.
Okay.
I think with this project and the momentum we have, Ireland could achieve climate neutrality by 2035. Agriculture to Ireland is like the car industry to Germany. It is a powerhouse.
We have a good name as it is, but I think we can actually enhance it. And by adopting robust science to back up our claims, I don't think anyone can argue that the Irish can be the best of the best.
We now need to go to the next step, and this project is about bringing Irish dairy and Irish agriculture in general to the next step, which is climate neutrality. It's a huge challenge, but it's a massive opportunity.